It started with a door that wasn't supposed to exist. Father Matteo had worked in the Vatican archives for nearly 30 years. He had memorized the winding underground hallways, every dusty shelf, every classified document locked away behind iron gates. But one rainy morning, during a routine inspection of humidity levels in one of the older chambers, he noticed something strange. A faint draft, cold and steady, blowing through what looked like a smooth stone wall. Curiosity led him to press his hand against it. And just like that, a portion of the wall clicked, groaned, and slid open. Behind it was a narrow staircase spiraling downward, so ancient, it seemed carved by hand. He called for the guards. But within minutes, the Pope's private security unit was already there, telling him to forget what he saw. The passage didn't exist, they said. You've been working too long, Father. But he couldn't forget. 2 nights later, he returned alone, armed with nothing but a flashlight and his faith. He descended into the unknown, and what he discovered was far beyond what the Church, or any human, was ready to accept. The tunnel led to a massive stone chamber, deep beneath the earth. In the center stood a strange structure. It looked like a machine, but unlike anything he'd seen, partly metallic, partly organic, pulsing with a dim blue light. Strange symbols, neither Latin nor any human language, lined the walls, glowing faintly. Floating above the machine was something impossible, a shimmering loop of space and time. Father Matteo reached out instinctively, and the moment his hand passed through it, everything changed. Suddenly, he was standing in the same room, but the machine looked brand new. The walls were clean. The symbols glowed brighter. And voices echoed, people in robes, speaking a language he couldn't understand. They didn't see him. It was like he had become invisible to the past. Just as quickly, the loop collapsed, and he was back in the present. Terrified, he ran. But before he reached the surface, men in black suits were waiting. "We need to talk," one of them said, flashing a badge with no name. "You weren't supposed to find that." For weeks, Father Matteo was kept in a Vatican-controlled facility. Interrogated, drugged, monitored. He learned that what he had seen was codenamed Project Aeon, a joint operation between the Vatican, the U.S. government, and an unnamed extraterrestrial intelligence. The time loop device had been buried for thousands of years, discovered during excavations in 1929, when Pope Pius XI ordered a deep reconstruction of the archives. Only a handful of people in the world knew about it. The machine, it turned out, didn't just show the past, it was a time stabilizer. According to the classified documents Father Matteo secretly read during his captivity, the Earth sits in a pocket of space-time prone to temporal instability. Left unchecked, time would fracture, causing loops, resets, and paradoxes. The aliens, who called themselves the Orzal, placed the device beneath the Vatican to stabilize Earth's timeline. But the device was aging, and its power was fading. Stranger still, the Orzal didn't just leave the machine. They left a warning: when the loop collapses, humanity will forget what time truly is. That was over 1,000 years ago. The Vatican, working with secret U.S. agencies since the Cold War, had been trying to repair the device, without success. Every attempt to tamper with it caused strange global phenomena. Reports of people disappearing only to return minutes later claiming it had been years. Planes landing before they took off. A child in Germany aging 6 years overnight. The anomalies were becoming more frequent. And then came the twist no one expected. Father Matteo wasn't the first to find the loop. Over 300 years ago, a monk named Benedictus vanished in the archives and was presumed dead. But during a classified debrief, Matteo was shown an image that shook him to the core, a blurry surveillance photo taken in 1998, showing Benedictus, completely unchanged, walking out of a forest in Argentina. He didn't speak. He didn't age. But in his pocket was a page from a journal, with one line written over and over. "We are inside the loop. This is not the first version." That's when Father Matteo realized the truth. The loop wasn't just a stabilizer, it was a prison. A cage designed to keep time from moving forward. Humanity had been repeating the same timeline over and over again, with only a few, like Benedictus, managing to break out and return with fragments of memory. Matteo knew he had to act. He pretended to cooperate, gaining trust from his captors. But secretly, he memorized the machine's structure. He planned to escape and reveal the truth to the world. The opportunity came during a maintenance operation. Matteo faked a seizure, distracting the guards long enough to slip away. He made it back to the archives and reached the loop. He had one goal: enter the loop again and go back to the moment it was activated, to stop it from ever being turned on. He passed through. But something went wrong. Instead of the past, Matteo found himself in a shattered version of reality. Time was broken. Days and nights flashed in seconds. He walked through a Rome where statues wept blood, where people lived the same moment again and again, unaware they were stuck. The loop was failing. Then, in the heart of that chaos, he met her. A woman, glowing tall, eyes like galaxies, appeared and spoke in perfect Latin. "You were not meant to see this," she said. "But now that you have, the loop can no longer hold." She was Orzal. Or rather, an interface of their collective consciousness. She told him the truth humanity was never meant to know: Earth is one of many test worlds. Civilizations are allowed to evolve, and when they become too unstable, violent, self-destructive, the loop is triggered, resetting time until a better outcome is achieved. Earth was on its 12th loop. Each reset erased memory, but anomalies like Benedictus, and now Matteo, were signs the system was breaking down. Time was running out. The next collapse wouldn't reset things, it would erase them. There was only one chance left. The loop had to be shut down manually. But doing so would mean releasing time completely. All versions, all loops, all possible outcomes would crash into one. The world would change in ways no one could predict. Some would remember. Others would vanish. Matteo agreed. He had seen enough. Humanity deserved to be free, even if it meant chaos. He reached into the heart of the machine, where time flowed like liquid. It burned. It screamed. And then, nothing. When Vatican officials returned to the chamber, the machine was gone. The tunnel sealed itself. Father Matteo was never seen again. But in the years that followed, strange things began happening around the world. People started remembering things that had never happened, events from other lives. A woman in Tokyo swore she'd once been a pilot in World War I. A man in Brazil remembered building pyramids with his own hands. Children began speaking ancient languages with no explanation. And then came the most shocking incident. In 2023, a digital video surfaced online showing Pope John Paul I, who died in 1978, speaking at what appeared to be a modern-day UN summit. Experts declared it a hoax. But no one could explain how the facial features, voice, and speech patterns matched perfectly. Some say the world has already begun merging with its past versions. Others believe the Orzal returned and fixed the loop quietly. But every year, on the same date Father Matteo disappeared, a strange energy spike is recorded beneath the Vatican. Scientists can't explain it. The Vatican refuses to comment. And somewhere, deep in time, Father Matteo watches, waiting for us to remember.